All right, welcome back to the Dreamer's Journey podcast. I'm your host, Geoff Weeks, with another Geoff. Geoff with a G. Geoff Hammer. Geoff and I have worked together for, a lot of years since I came on, 13 years.
Okay.
And then we've worked on the same crew. But even before we worked on the same crew, I felt like we had a pretty tight relationship. One of the few people that I bonded with without being at the same station as.
Yeah.
So I like to, I gotta take a moment for the sponsors.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Got them all in?
Yep. Yeah, and it helps. Without support, we can't make something like this go. So let's start with some fun stories. What's some Weeks Hammer stories you got?
Man, I don't know. A ton of them I think come to mind is not at work, but building the Weeks homestead. I don't know what you call it these days.
Barn-dominium.
The barn-dominium.
Yes, you built this house, and I helped you. That's what I tell people. I owe Geoff Hammer one of my children.
I got plenty.
I know. I'm well aware he doesn't want any of them.
I would take one, but
yeah.
No, so a lot of days, like early days, because we come from the station.
Yes.
Late nights, hot days, cold days.
This house was built by firefighters and Twisted Tea.
Man, yeah.
That's what I tell people.
And it's not terrible.
No, it's good. It keeps us warm. Some things are square.
Yeah.
Most things are square.
As Drew would say, you can't see it from my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I was never truly worried, but I didn't know your expectations.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories of building the house is we're probably sitting around this area, maybe over a little bit, but we stopped for lunch, and I think it was me and you and Nate and Maverick.
Yeah.
Your son.
Might have been a fourth, but
it feels like there was somebody else.
And Maverick was here, yeah. Helping.
And he wanted our attention so bad. He wanted your attention. He wanted to tell you something.
But we were so deep in fire department stories.
Yes.
Or something.
And we wouldn't stop and take a breath of air. We both talk fast and over each other. And yeah. And would you like to do the honors? What?
I mean, yeah. So we're, there's at least 4. That might have been a champ day.
Champ or Fick, maybe?
Oh, maybe Fick. Anyways, yes, there was at least 4 of us, maybe, and telling stories, cutting up about the fire department, telling whatever. And Maverick kept tugging on my shirt, saying, Dad. I just kept kind of patting him on the head, saying, just a minute, buddy, as you do with your kids.
15 straight minutes.
And he finally had enough, and he was going to get our attention, and he stomped his foot and said, "You guys are really pissing me off."
Yeah.
And of course, the recoil and, and I think I said something along the lines of, he's got a mouth like his mother,
Right. And we
were crying, laughing.
Ugh.
I've actually got to hear that story a couple of times at the fire station from guys that have either heard it or guys that were there.
Right.
And they tell that story. Nate tells it very well, and it's hilarious to have somebody else telling a funny story that you were personally a part of that really was funny.
Yeah, about your kid.
Yeah. My kids.
That was awesome. That was iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was part of the boys that day.
Yes, he was.
What else? So we were rescue specialists together. You still are.
Yes.
You're the most senior rescue guy.
Yes, in the city.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. High accolades.
Yeah.
Smartest.
Lots
best looking.
Lots of extra pay for that position.
Right.
That's a joke.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, I don't know. This is year 15. I just finished year 15 on the fire department.
Wow.
So that would make it year 11 on the rescue.
Wow. That's a run.
Yeah, this will be, yeah. So
Seen some things change.
For sure. I mean, when I got promoted there, obviously captains that have retired since then and a yellow rescue still. So I still think I'm the only person, and this is an old, accolade, but the only person in the department that has pumped a fire off the old rescue and the new rescue.
Ooh.
I mean,
yeah.
Which pumping off of either is a pretty low probability.
I'm sure there's a medal for that.
It's got to be. We're joking around right now currently of being put in for EO of the year.
Yes.
I pumped a house fire this year off the rescue.
Nice.
So EOs love that joke.
They do.
Yeah. But yeah, rescue specialist, still doing it. Been at 1A the entire time.
Man.
This is my third captain. 4th battalion. Who knows how many lieutenants?
Yeah, quite a few.
But yeah, I'm the steady. Everybody else has rotated around me, but I'm the only one that's still there.
You're the constant.
The constant. That's a good thing, but still there. Can't get rid of me.
That's awesome. That's a good gig. I miss it. I miss our chats in the Hawk's Nest.
The Hawk's Nest.
Eagle's Nest.
Eagle's Nest. It's been called a lot of things. I'm still representing. It's still there. It's still mine.
Yeah. I mean, we would have, just the most outrageous conversations. And
I sure thought we solved all the world's problems there.
Right.
And then every day you turn on the news and
they're still there.
There's more, but you're not there solving with me now, so
right.
Maybe that's part of it.
No, I'm trying to think of other. We've had just so many moments of hysterical laughter.
Yeah, and
for
some of that
whatever
came
reason
from
right now I just can't think of
rescue. Times on the water rescue that we did stuff together, whether that was harassing Thompson.
Yeah, hanging glow sticks off of people.
Yeah, but then, even just the people that were around us. Having Coffer at Station 1, now he's your driver. Mm-hmm. That guy's full of stories. And then, when we had when our rescue crew was Geoff, and Jeff.
Iconic.
And Tom.
But
yeah, not every day you get a crew of 4 Jeffs. It's pretty impressive.
That's right. Yeah, that was a well-diversified Jeffs, too.
Yeah, none of those Jeffs were the same.
So, Dreamer's Journey. If you have not heard or listened before, the idea is that looking at people, where they have come from, where they're going, stuff like that. Everyone has a dream. Everyone has a journey. I know that's cliche and corny, but
true.
But true. The other part of it is this helps me with interviewing skill, just to talk to people, to get their kind of unravel their story a little bit. So I try not to interject my own opinions and thoughts too often. Just let you kind of have the floor more often than not. But obviously it's still back and forth conversation. So Geoff Hammer, getting to be firefighter extraordinaire, was that always the dream?
No, absolutely not. I don't think I knew what I wanted to do. I don't think I still know. That sounds cliche as well, but growing up, my dad was a police officer in the small town of Nixa, Missouri. At the time of growing up.
I don't know that I knew that.
It really was a small town. No McDonald's. An old grocery store, 2-lane roads, no small.
Supermarket.
No, it was, and now Nixa's playing 6A football.
Right.
So
dominating 6A football.
Looking pretty good. But yes, I grew up, born and raised, if you will, in Nixa. My dad had been a cop other places too, but was a cop in Nixa at the time. And so I grew up, at the time it was a pretty small town still, and so the police and fire were around each other a lot, that kind of thing. So grew up, I guess, as a, first responder family, if you will. So it's always been, I guess, a possibility. And, I never really had a direction or knew what I wanted to do. Currently, I'm a few classes shy of my 3rd 2-year degree. Okay. I plan on calling it a master's.
Oh, yes.
If anybody's going to ask.
I think that maths.
I don't know the math, but that's what I'm going to say. So I think that proves even farther that I had no idea. And then, but one day, thumbing through whatever, and it was actually advertisement, if you will, a story on KY3 that was they had just recently made it to where that was the first year that you didn't have to have, anything. You could have college credit, but you didn't have to have fire, or EMT, or any of that. And it was that first year, and it was one of those things like, man, I've got to do something. I had 2 kids at the time. We planned on having at least a couple more. That had always been the plan. And so, I knew I had to do something that was going to be long-term, stable, insurance, retirement would be good too. And so it wasn't a plan, but I read that, saw it, discussed it with the wife, mulled it around, and here I am 15 years later.
Man, just went for it. And it wasn't easy getting on back then.
No,
Back in your day.
Whenever, back in my day,
When men were men.
When men were men, dude, that gets said at Station 1 so many times now. I freaking love it.
Makes Coffer's head explode.
Right, comparing, I love it. I think the numbers, the year I tested, there was 770 applicants.
Wow.
And there was 17 hired that year.
You're the elite.
Well, I'll never win the lottery. I mean, doing the math, that was my lottery ticket, if you will.
All
so, I'm all out of luck, I say. 770, I think, was the number. And then that was when they were still doing just a written test. And so they had, big, giant classrooms at MSU.
State. Yep.
And it was, 100 in a room at a time, taking a written test. And I think the written test pared it down to maybe a couple hundred. Right. And then you had to do the mile run and then the physical agility and all of that. So they pared it down to under 100 before they even started doing interviews. But even then,
yeah, I remember, similar, I forget what our number was. But man, when you walk into the room at Missouri State and you realize that this is one of 4,
I almost left.
Yeah, you're just like, I don't know that I have a chance.
Well, and not even knowing. I did a little bit of, I was one of the older guys. I started when I was 30. The year I got hired, I turned 30. And so, of course, I got a hard time being the old guy. Everybody was 28 and 29, But somebody had to be the old guy, and it was me. But I just remember I didn't put a lot of I didn't Google firefighter test. I had no idea going into it. I didn't practice. I didn't know anything. And so going into it, when I see that many people, all of a sudden I'm like, well, they're going to know firefighter stuff, right? They've been to firefighter classes. They've been trying this or whatever. And so I had no idea that it was going to be so much, mechanical aptitude and problem solving and
math,
minor math stuff,
minor math. I hadn't done long division in forever.
Dude, I still tell this story, and I probably told you 10 times. The craziest word problem I've ever seen in my life was on that test. And it was how much water is left in the tank in 8 hours, right? There's a tank, and it has 300 gallons of water in it. It has a leak of 2 gallons per minute and a hose filling it at 6 gallons per minute. And, you also took out 300 gallons over the course of 4 hours to fill 9 buckets. How much water ends at midnight? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Who made... I just circled C and went on.
Right.
I wasn't going to take that time. You got to be kidding me. The wildest... And again, that's not long division, but it's still just you've got to be kidding me. And I've never had that show up on a fire scene.
Sure. Thank goodness.
But when I got done with that test, like I said, I did not feel good about it. And it was the Scantron. And it was just they, and they, oh, thank you, have a nice day. 10 people in front of me. Thank you, have a good day. Thank you, have a good day. They passed mine.
Better luck next time.
And then they were like, oh, line's over there. And there was 6 people in line. And that was the line to sign up for the physical agility. And I was like, holy cow.
You remember what your score was?
I thought it was good. I want to say it was 84. And in my academy class, there were seven of us. And I remember one day somebody was talking about something, and I felt pretty good. So I threw out the old, I think it was because there was somebody in my class, I won't name any names, but somebody was like, oh, man, I got a 77, And I was like, yeah. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like, I was like, I'm proud. I was like, I got 84. And it was 85, 87, 88, 89. And I was like, I'm an idiot.
Hey, I was in the 70s. I was in the low 70s.
Yeah.
I don't know how
they gave the old, 10 minutes to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, 10 questions left. And I had planned on going back and going through some.
Yeah, trying to solve the water in the tank equation.
Right. And not even trying to, it sounds like I'm bragging. I had 10 questions left, and I went through them real fast. And I think I had 2 or 3 questions left that I didn't read. I just circled because I saw everybody was getting done, and I don't want to wait in that line.
Oh, jeez.
And again, not bragging, it worked out, but I really was. I was like, man, because nobody was done. A couple people had got done, but when they said 10 minutes, the room's still full. And so I'm sure I had somewhere to be podcast interview or something to go to.
Can you imagine just blowing off those last three? Like looking back on where you are in your career now, right. Just blowing off three questions of like
not a thing.
If you looked back and you'd freaking have a talk with yourself.
Oh my gosh!
Take those last three questions serious. Oh, that line doesn't matter. This is your life.
Right. And could have been the difference.
Right.
Oh, thank you. Have a nice day.
Yep.
And I'm not saying I'm going to try the next year, but it had never been on my radar until a month before that. And so, I'm not saying I wasn't taking serious, but when I went to my second interview, I remember, who did I see in the parking lot? Somebody I came on with. But I came out and they're like, you went in there like that? And I was like, what do you mean? Well, I had like a week's growth of beard, trimmed up nice, but I just always kept a, whatever. And they were like, you went in there like that? And I was like, well, I don't work at the fire department.
Right.
So, everybody else was like as a military interview, clean shaven, whatever. And I was like, and David Hall in that interview said, you do realize you'll have to shave if you get this job, right? I was like, oh yeah. But I'm just saying, so again, just never took it,
Interesting. Almost like they expected you to be.
Yeah. I just.
We're just taking a test.
But and yeah, that's the deal. I was like, yeah, I wear a shirt and tie like you're supposed to and all that, but I didn't feel like changing my day-to-day physical appearance was.
Right.
So.
You even take the last three questions serious.
Right.
I'm not going to shave my face.
I might show up. Who knows? But
that's good.
Yeah.
So. All right. So long career in the fire service already. And then, so let's see, you had some, just because I know you looked at other things before. You had different career opportunities. 30 isn't, that's kind of the time you found the fire service. So what does the future look like for Geoff Hammer? If you had to, if we pull the slingshot backwards, if you will, you have 5 children, happily married.
5, yeah.
You have a mansion shop house built. Yeah. So what's next? What, looking beyond, not even beyond the fire department, but in tandem, what are the dreams? What are the journeys? What are the things you want to do? Avid music lover, all the stuff.
Yeah. Currently, or, just as we go, it's obviously raising kids, doing kid stuff, my oldest is the only one out of the house. Everybody else is still there. My second oldest is a senior this year, so lots of senior things. All my kids play sports. All my kids are in clubs. Me and my wife both coach all of their sports. We love traveling. We love seeing live music. So, that's our year to year. Like we have certain, music festivals we go to every year. We have certain camping trips we go to every year. The kids love going to the beach, but I'd love to say there's a longer term plan, and there probably should be. It's scary to even think about, but in 10 years I could retire. I'll be 55 at 25 years.
Wow.
And so, it's more of a daydream conversation. Are we staying here? My 25th year in the fire department, I'll turn 55, and will be Maverick senior year. So it'll be time for big changes.
Right.
But, that will also all have daughters that are, pushing 30. Wow. So there could be grandkids. Wow. There could be other things. And so we've daydreamed, and, would we dare, leave the Hammer homestead and our family and everything we know here and retire to the beach, go somewhere else. We've thought of those things, but we're also from here and like it here, and we're lake people. I could see right. Just a move barely south to the old Table Rock.
Yeah,
I could see that. But I don't know. No specific plans. The wife has her salon business that she's happy with. That just keeps going. Able to set her own schedule and kind of work around mine. So I think a lot of it will be dictated by what kids do. If there's grandkids here, if there's kids that move somewhere else, and
you won't be able to pull Amanda away from grandkids.
Oh man, it'll be something. I think that's the thing. If our kids go elsewhere and have kids, I think she'll gravitate that direction.
Sure.
So
very cool. Well, I feel like I kind of want to rewind a little bit, and you guys are coaching all of your kids' sports.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always wanted to do. I'm sure I will coach something at some point in time, but I haven't jumped in both feet. I like my kids, but I don't know if I'm going to like other people's kids.
Oh, dude, trust me.
but I think that's like really important for you to be involved, for you to be helping out. Like you're up in all their business. That they're doing. All their friends. And as far as like being a dreamer, like I know that implies like how are you trying to change the world or whatever. But I mean, you guys are changing your children's world, every day by being so involved and taking part and coaching and leading and like I said, knowing their friends, and their friends are gonna, now know you forever. I'm sure there's a bunch of other kids that are graduating this year that, not that that's as important as your own daughter graduating, but you will sit at a graduation ceremony and probably know a lot of the kids
for sure,
and be able to have conversations with their families and stuff. And I think that's really cool. I think that's it shows a level of involvement that a lot of parents don't put the time and effort into. Something I definitely will need to strive to be better at myself.
When I first started coaching, Amanda didn't think that it would go very well because of other people's kids. It is funny. Like I'll see my daughters; they're currently 6th and 7th grade, and I'll be coaching basketball, and somebody will say or do something that my daughters know that I'm going to think is absurd. And, the look that they give me, they'll look at me, because a girl will say or do something that's not correct or not right. And my daughters will look at me, give me the like, oh man, he's going to, because if we were at home and they did that, I would say, what are you thinking? And so, but it wasn't very long afterwards that my wife said to me, she's like, I don't know where you got this patience. I don't know, but coaching young kids has taught me or given me, I don't know the word or how it's, but given me more patience than I've ever had, even with my own kids just at home. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's that, I can't strangle, all the kids,
Right.
I don't know, but it's also neat to see those kids. This is obviously my young Maverick, my first boy after having 4 daughters. The difference in boys and girls sports is miles apart from what I even knew it was. It is so different and so crazy. But to see, those boys grow from like, they're not listening to you, they want nothing to do with you, to, yes, coach, to do stuff is really neat. And to have parents come to you and be like, man, you're going to have your hands full this year with such and such. And then by the end of the year, they're like, man, I don't know what you do, but it's even affected him at home. Like
that's great.
And so it's a warm and fuzzy for sure.
Super rewarding. Maybe that's your future, just coaching.
I mean, I don't know how many people listen to this podcast or what's out there, but I'm working on it. I finished all my Misha state certifications and got all my stuff together. And I've just recently met with the athletic director, and there's a good chance this spring I'll be coaching the school softball team.
Wow. I didn't know you had to have all that stuff. I know you kind of mentioned, it made it just sound like, oh, yeah, another backyard football game I'm going to coordinate. But, wow, yeah.
I feel like it's kind of like even in the fire service or something, there's a minimum standard, and they want to be able to say, oh, they knew that. They knew you could or couldn't do that. So a lot of it is, basic, just human things you can say, could or couldn't say to school kids or whatever.
Right.
But then other of them are specifically sport classes or specifically dealing with parents, and it's all online stuff that you just pay your $50 and take the 2 or 3 classes, and then this one's $100 and this whatever. But and there's levels of it. There's level 1, level 2, level 3. There's middle school. There's all this stuff. And
level 3 dealing with parents.
Yes, which I mean,
I'm sure
if you've been
I'm
around,
sure there's wild stuff that I don't. I'm sure there's as that you think of the traditional, irate parent that their kid isn't getting playing time because you're an idiot coach, not because your kid doesn't know what their baseball glove looks like.
Sure.
But I'm sure there's some obviously we see some pretty terrible things in our line of work. And I'm sure there's some situations where you're going to have to deal with kids that have been potentially abused, or
100%.
This is the only safe place.
Yes, and
softball
all of that,
practice and
all of those things. There's classes that are looking for those things, and obviously mandatory reporting, and all of those. But and to an extent, I've seen that now. I mean, you can tell a kid if he's got a rough home life, if he doesn't live with his parents, he or she. I mean, you can tell those, especially coaching them since kindergarten. By the time they're in 4th or 5th grade, you know their tendencies, and are those tendencies because of that's who they are, or because of their environment? And you see that. I mean, it's super rewarding on one hand to get them away for a certain time, or get them out of a situation, or see them improve themselves.
Right.
And it's also sometimes you guys shake your head because there's certain situations that you can't help. As a coach, you can give direction, you can do whatever, but I mean, you can't control what happens at home.
Right.
If it's not something horrible that you're supposed to report.
Yeah.
And so and I think to an extent you even see it. I'm not going to say it's even more, but we're a pretty small school district, and so those girls on the team, I mean, they're all in the same classes, and they all know each other and see each other, and the parents, and it's not just that you're a coach, that there's all these kids. I mean, you have all of them, all that sign up. Right. You're the coach. You know what I mean? I mean, last year in some grades there was 2 kids in a grade that played a sport.
Good grief.
And so it's anyways, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of getting out there, but
no, that's super cool. I love that. I think that's great. I have a lot of admiration for what you're doing there, and just for you in general, Geoff. I think you're great. You're the Geoff I'm aspiring to be.
It's a small list, but I appreciate that. I don't know, a lot of people would aspire to do what I do.
No, while we were talking, I do have a memory, and this is a weird memory because it's not a memory, but you're one of the only people that I have had a dream about, or with,
Yeah.
that I remember, that I've remembered it. I don't. Do you remember me telling you that we were in a blimp? In
a blimp.
Yeah,
I do recall this.
We wrecked a truck. You were teaching me how to drive a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the.
I mean,
it's the stupidest.
Wild, and it's got to be just the amount of time that we spent building the house and working together.
Yeah.
Like all your brain could think about was, Hammer had to be there.
Yeah, yep.
But
wrecking, and it was anyway. I'll have to talk to my dream interpreter about it.
Yeah. I was there for a second. I was confusing that with your bad red wine dream.
Oh,
I was like, I wasn't in that one, right? I was like,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you said blimp and trailer, I got it.
Murder dreams.
Yeah, glad I wasn't there.
Yep. No, not that one. That's probably only of three dreams I've ever remembered. I don't know. Do you remember dreams?
I feel like when I remember them, I remember pieces. You wake up and you're like, oh, did that happen? Oh, it was a dream. And then so quickly, you remember like the where, but not the why or who.
It starts getting so fuzzy so fast.
Or you remember who and kind of what you were doing, but not why you're like it.
You ever try and like, I gotta get back to sleep so I can get back in this dream.
Oh my gosh!
And you just can't get there.
No,
it's gone.
And when you start waking up, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously, even if you like, it seems like it's so long. You know what I mean? And realistically, that dream was probably minutes.
Maybe.
You know? But in your mind, you're like, oh man, we went so far this way, and then we did this, and then we met this guy and did this, and it's minutes.
That's it. And then you fell off the cliff.
Your brain is just working so fast.
You wanna hear my other dream that I remembered? This one's ridiculous. This probably isn't the time or place, but who cares?
Here we are.
I had a dream that I was getting trolled by Glenn Powell. You know the actor.
Yeah.
And that he was just chirping me, and that he, I have no clue what he was saying. I don't remember that part, but I just remember like I was walking down like a Hollywood Boulevard type of boardwalk. That's what it was, like a boardwalk, like an LA boardwalk type of thing, and that he is just.
And it's him.
I turn around and I know it's him, and he's saying dumb things. That's all. I can't remember what it was, but I remember just being like, "Hey, you're a stupid guy," I don't know. And that in my mind I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna shred him." It's not a lot of people know that it's my spiritual gift to shred people.
Yeah,
whenever I need to. And I was getting ready to, just invoke all the wit that I had. It was going to unleash on Glenn Powell. And I turned around and I couldn't talk. And that was and in my dream, I was like, this would never happen. Like I had that thought, like, this isn't me. I can talk.
Had you recently been watching him a lot, or? Like, why him is my question.
Man, so to really get into it, Kaylee and I had gone to a retreat over the summer. I guess, yeah, it was September, out in Colorado. And this is with Kaylee's aunt, Jenny. And she does a lot of retreat work. She works with a lot of counter sex trafficking operations. She's brilliant. She's got, very, very mental health conscience and stuff. And so she had said, like, hey, I do like dream counseling stuff. This isn't, woo woo magic where you tell me your dream and I, look into a crystal ball.
Tell
and
you
stuff.
why.
But
yeah.
She's like, I like to talk to people about their dreams, and I like to unravel maybe what the Lord is trying to put on your heart. Not that we have to get down a far religious hole here, but lots of questions like, well, what do you think Glenn Powell meant to you? Well, what do you think of this? Well, what do you think of that? And we kind of unraveled it. It's kind of interesting. I have our screening tomorrow for Sons, the documentary, and this was, this happened just before I had this dream, and I brought the dream up to her. So we do follow up like counseling sessions, and it's not counseling; it's more just talking about things that we've implemented and stuff. And it's I love it. I think it's great. It's a good time to unwind and bounce things off of just another person that is kind of outside of the circle of everyday life. Anyway, she had talked about this dream stuff, and I was so excited to tell her about this dream because it was so stupid.
Yeah,
and then that's it. And she's like, no, sometimes the funny dreams can be the most revealing. And I was like, yeah, right.
right. What is it going to say about me?
Right. And so I was so excited to tell her about it just so she could laugh and, haha, that was a silly dream. And then she was all about like, I'm taking notes, what time of day is it? What, like all this stuff. And so the more we unraveled and kind of pulled on that thread, it was that, what does Glenn Powell mean? And I was like, well, he's an arrogant, chauvinistic, he sucks, he's and I mentioned like he is this, he sucks on a different level because he just gets away with everything. Like he's just this handsome, beautiful person that can say whatever he wants to whoever he wants and has no repercussions.
That's fair.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And the Glenn Powell, and I like Glenn Powell. All things in defense of Glenn Powell, I think he's pretty good at what he does, and I'm a fan of most of his films. But this Glenn Powell is the most like the character he plays in Top Gun Maverick. Just a douchebag.
Yeah.
And so I'm explaining this. She's like, okay, interesting. And then time of day and where you are. And she's like, you call it LA Boardwalk. That's your words. No cars or traffic around, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, all right, I got something for you. I think if we connect some dots, who's someone that doesn't have to answer to anybody that, you feel like you might be trying to speak against. I was like, I don't know. I'm thinking very micro.
Yeah.
And and before this session I'd put like on a questionnaire, just like, looking for affirmation and, the things that I do that are maybe a little reckless, that, specifically the Ukraine stuff.
Sure.
This isn't just a big adventure for me, but this is, a higher calling. Like I constantly struggle with like making or keep that in check, I guess. This isn't just off to get some weird adrenaline rush and do something insane. Like this is, about a higher calling, about telling a story that's purposeful and stuff. And so she kind of had that pre-loaded, and to shorten the story for you, like the way we talked about it, she's like, it's clear to me that, Glenn Powell in this situation is Putin, and that, your inability to speak is like you're potentially being worried that your film's not going to be seen, and that that you're not going to be able to speak up against, this evil in the world. And, the LA Boardwalk thing, very symbolic for like having a screening and a filming and, all this. And so, the question that she asked was very much like, well, do you feel validated that this is your calling, that you need your voice, that you need to speak, that you need to show these films, that you need to create this, because you do need this voice to overcome the evil. I was like, wow, this Glenn Powell dream just got
I thought we were just
super
laughing
deep.
and having a good time here.
Right.
You know, yeah.
So,
wow.
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's wild though.
I feel like we got.
I think it'd be super cool.
Topic.
I mean, you see people, whether it's online or whatever, that I think there was a radio station for a while that they would have somebody come in that was interpret your dream. People would call in and say, "Oh man, I had a guitar and did this and whatever," and they would just even if it was very vaguely, but be like, "Oh, that typically deals with this."
Yeah, anxiety.
And, right. Yeah. You're anxious and don't like your job.
Right.
Oh man, she's good. The only thing that I've ever
Your children are being difficult.
right. They're like, man, she is dead on. The only one that I've ever seen, and I know it's very common, but that I've actually Googled and read about it or whatever, but is the dream that you have that your teeth are falling out.
Yes, we've talked about this.
And it's more teeth than you're supposed to have. You're catching them.
Mm-hmm.
You feel them. You're embarrassed, so you're trying to keep them in your mouth, and it's a whole thing. And it's a well documented. Like it's all over. Like you can read a lot on it, but it has something to do with either a big decision coming up or something. Even if it's not a specific decision, something big that's happening that you're trying to make a decision about, or that you're trying to go this way or that way. And I've always tried to pin that down to think about like if I could think of when I had that dream, and if I had it multiple times. Again, is it micro or macro?
Right.
Is it this week? Like trying to decide what to have for dinner? It bugs me every time. My teeth. Right. Or, is it career? Is it bigger? I don't know. And so, but that's the only one that I've, I can remember vividly, and you remember it happening and you're just, it's terrible. But like I said, when you look it up and read it, and you're like, holy cow, this is exactly somebody who said the exact same thing is writing this, because you're like, I see that, but I've just, that's the only one that I can think of that's the only meaning I've ever got. I would love to have one that's kind of wild, maybe Glenn Powell, who knows,
right.
That somebody would be like, oh, that means this,
Yeah.
But that is
just me, man, just dreaming about cute guys.
That is very interesting, though. That's a neat.
Yeah, isn't it?
I mean, and I'm not saying it's correct. It certainly matches up.
Sure.
I mean, those things symbolically or otherwise.
Well, and what's the question is like, what do you think could be revealed from this? So it's something obviously only you can answer. Somebody can't tell you what you think necessarily, but by kind of, like I said, pulling on those threads and unraveling things, like you can. I'm sure I could take that multiple different directions, but it is what direction do you're looking for answers, or you're looking for thought provoking clues. And so I think it's just kind of fun, to look at your, we blow off our dreams all the time, or, and I was chalking that up to just a silly dream, something funny to tell the guys at work. Glenn Powell was trolling me, and I could and then you're like, wow, there could be some depth to this if I took a second to stop, breathe, and diagnose it a little bit. It's kind of fun. Yeah,
for sure. So your podcast.
We went to the real dream.
Yeah, dream. Like, I mean, dream versus a dream, having a dream. I don't know, but so is it? Is every person that you interview? Is it is it the same set of questions? Do you have 5 questions you ask every person and then go from there?
So I do have questions that I wrote down, and I was like, this will be really great for a structure so that it's the same questions every time. As an audience, you could know what to expect, and so it's Geoff Hammer. I wonder what he thinks about question 2, and then the questions felt so unnatural to ask.
Okay,
that it just, to me, it just felt less like a conversation.
Sure.
And I value that this is just a genuine conversation. We can talk about dreams, and it doesn't have to be, hey, stop that. We're not going down that rabbit hole because you got to answer question 3 next.
Right.
So the general questions are, what dreams have you kind of come to see? Like, what have you accomplished? What, and most of those have to kind of do with career, past story, and what life events have led you to where you are now. And then, what's the future hold is kind of the the next one, what advice would you give to someone that's maybe fearful to take a step, to go, to a big intimidating, testing or whatnot, and then, I just kind of trickle off of those and kind of see where we can go with each one. So I guess what's your advice? What advice would you give to someone looking down the barrel of their future? You have 5 kids looking at futures.
Yeah.
How do you counsel them to, it's a fine edge of chase your dreams, go
Absolutely.
do something insane.
And as a parent, that is the scariest predicament you can be in. You always think about, when they ride their bike, it's going to be scary. When they go off to school, whatever. But I mean, the scariest one is absolutely like, live your dreams, do whatever. You want to be a butterfly wrangler, you just do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Versus, listen, this makes sense, and this will pay the bills, and this will, allow you to pay your taxes, and this will,
right.
Because nobody has ever been like, as a parent, you're never like, listen, sensible is the way to go. You don't say that. That's not parenting. You know what I mean? Making smart decisions, all those things. I guess if I'm gonna I would use the Nike. I guess it'd be the simple one, is just do it. Like if you have something and if it checks out that far. And the example I'm going to use is my oldest, Jenna. So, she has always been interested in space, telescopes, engineering, rockets. Like it's always been that way. Whether it mean, the papers she wrote, whether it be things she watched on TV, whether it be whatever it was. I mean, always been an interest. When she was in high school, I mean, the things that she would ask for Christmas were telescopes and Lego sets of the space shuttle.
I specifically remember a telescope being like back ordered.
Okay, yeah. Oh, it was a whole thing.
Yes.
Because it was a specific one she wanted.
Yeah.
It's not just being like, what do I want to spend? Let's get a telescope. No, there was something very specific she wanted it to do.
That feels like yesterday.
Oh my God. I wish it was, because we're old,
Gosh.
Yeah. And so, but that being said, Jenna has just always had a mind for that. And, whether it was a hobby, whether it was, because when you're 13 or 14, it is a hobby.
Sure.
Because you're not, nobody at 13 is like, well, I'm going to be a mechanical engineer. I'm going to make cars. They don't know. And even in high school, we all know, like, I'm thinking about doing political science. I'm thinking about doing elementary education. And even when you do it, you're like, I think I might be a teacher. Mm-hmm. And until you're a teacher, you're like, now I guess I'm a teacher, But so she's always been that way. And, we have never, ever, been like, why don't you be more sensible, because you're not going to be an astronaut, because that's not something you say,
Sure.
But kids that are 5 say, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a fireman, right? And you say, that's awesome. Do that. So anyways, I guess, I was going to say long story short, but I've already made it a long story.
Let's do it, yeah. We got time.
But, we never took that away from her. Never said, school's more important. Never said, well, if you want to do that, then you better get a degree in this. But if you want to do that. And so I'm missing a bunch of steps here, but I mean, she's currently working for SpaceX, which if you ask her, she'll tell you it's her dream job, even though she hasn't got like to the specific job she wants, but she's working there in the midst of all of it. She just loves it. When she's at work, she's doing it. When she's not at work, she's doing it. She loves that. And then even second to that, she started taking a private pilot's license, and she just did her solo flight not too long ago because she says she's going to be an astronaut or something to do with that.
Wow.
And it's hard to say, you can't do that, because she's 19 working for SpaceX. She moved 1,500 miles from anybody she knows.
Right.
And is working. So again, I'm not saying like, she had a dream when she was 5 and she followed it. But it was an interest that, she would stay up all night watching her telescope because there was one planet that was going to be available from 3 to 4. She was going to see it.
Yeah. I remember you talking about a vacation, and you guys go down to Texas and went to the beach.
Went to the beach. And she did not go to the beach. Yep. She went to the launch pad in the middle of the freaking desert, 100 degrees outside. We're at the beach playing Frisbee and jumping waves, doing family and kid stuff. And she's 2 or 3 miles up the road at the base of the launch pad because they were moving one of the rockets at SpaceX.
Yeah, and she got some special pictures.
Yes. She was there, and somebody was like, they closed down the road so you couldn't be there. But somebody was like, you can just stay in the bed of the truck. And she stayed there and filmed it coming by. And so she's got some credits on some website. And one of the pictures she recently took, I say recently, this was last year, but she took a picture of there's like a small pond or where the water comes in and stays. I don't know the actual term for it, but right there by the launch pad. Mm-hmm. And she's got a picture of like 4 rockets standing, and then you can see the reflection perfect below them. Oh, cool. And she, whatever, tweeted it or did whatever, posted it somewhere, and Elon retweeted it. That's her, I say, claim to fame. Nobody cares who the credit on the bottom of the picture is unless you're the guy that took it.
Right.
Then it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And so little things, but she's learned a lot by what she's doing. She's working on the camera systems on the rocket, internal and external.
Oh, cool.
So, you would understand more of what she's doing than I do.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
She wants to be an engineer and build the rockets, though. Like, it's killing her not to be working on the rocket specifically. Mm-hmm. But like I said, she's a 20-year-old kid. So,
man.
But again, I've, Aurelia is a senior this year, and, she does not have that, this is my thing. The last 2 years, she's gone to Votech as a welder, and she loves it. Mm-hmm. And she thinks that might be what she wants to do. Now, that's a really difficult and a hard task, especially for a female.
Sure.
Especially for, it's not going to happen here. She would have to move for that. And so I don't know if that's what she'll do or not, but we've never been like, listen, you're a girl. You can't be a welder.
Yeah.
So we've never held them back, let them kind of dream a little. But also, we've been very upfront with, hey, you still have to pay bills.
Right.
You still have to live. You still have to do these things. So,
butterfly wrangling doesn't
always pay the bills. Now, if you can do that, fantastic. I just don't know that that's a thing. So, and then of course, I've got a 8-year-old Maverick. Right. Who's like, I'm thinking about firefighter. That sounds pretty cool, but also might be a construction worker.
Yep.
But
just a pistol.
And at 8, I'm not going to be like, listen, man, there's some really hard days in the fire service,
right.
Or man, it's cold working construction outside. Like,
right.
You're just like, cool, dude.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. Here's some nails.
But I also, I'm kind of just throwing this out of nowhere, but from probably 3rd or 4th grade. Through almost high school, I told my mom every day I was going to be a fighter pilot. Mm-hmm. That was it. Probably had a lot to do with Top Gun. Yeah. I'm old. Yeah. I think I was in 1st
Not
grade.
the Glen Powell version.
No. OG.
OG.
I think I was in 1st
Windmill
grade when that came out.
And
2nd grade.
Cut off jeans.
And so I don't know that was specifically it. I'm sure it had something to do with it.
Yeah.
But I was for sure. I was in high school, still telling her like I might join the Navy and I want to be I want to be a fighter pilot. That was a thing. And of course, as a mom, she's like, nah, not happening. Not really squashing my dreams, but she was never like, yeah, you do you.
Yeah.
So obviously things change, but it is and you're going to see. I'm sure you've already, even at your kid's age, you hear the. I want to do this. I can't wait. I'm gonna have 1,000 dogs. I'm gonna, whatever. But there does come a point, and I don't know if that's at 12 or if that's at 15 or that's at 18, that what they're saying is serious. Mm-hmm. And whether that's they want to run a dog rescue or want to be an astronaut,
right?
At some point, you got to be on board, Dad.
Sure. Yeah, Opal's going to be a singer.
Okay.
That's what her thing has been.
Fantastic.
But, man,
I love live music.
Yeah. She auditioned for honor choir. Okay. Got honor choir this year. Big deal.
Yeah.
And then
what grade is she?
4th.
4th grade, okay.
And then in honor choir, they had an audition for solos for the Christmas performance. And there was 2 solos, a boy and a girl. And Opal got the girl part.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
So been practicing?
We're all, we got mics, man. We got a stage out here.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
I agree. Just encouraging those. Yeah, because it'd be so easy. Like, you're not going to be Taylor Swift, so sorry about you.
Yeah.
Which arguably.
Even at 10 or even, you could even say by 10 or 12, even 13, Taylor Swift wasn't going to be Taylor Swift.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It just kind of happened.
Right.
So.
Yeah. All right. I thought of 2 questions.
Okay.
I want to ask, and maybe these will be my consistent questions. So if you could, Geoff Hammer, pick up your, let's call it community. You can pick up, your friends, your job, your family, anybody that you still want to live around you. And you could drop your community anywhere in the world. So you could drop it in a tropical place or mountainous region or foreign country or whatever. Where would your ideal place to drop your community be?
That's a good question, and I think it's the best question. I think it's a good question because, I mean, it's so critical thinking, right? Easy to say a lot of things, right? And I think that if you're not a world traveler, that obviously shrinks your circle.
Sure.
I've been to Italy once,
Ooh.
and it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Some of those places in the countryside I think would be awesome. Granted, I don't know what else is there, and I don't know the winters very well, so maybe not. But for me, the easy answer is, I like where we're at, and it is awesome here.
Sure.
Rivers and lakes and all 4 seasons and all that.
Yes.
But if you've been around me at all ever, you know that about 9 months out of the year I'm cold.
Yes.
Right?
I know.
Right.
I had the heater going in here.
I'm cold all the time. Summertime at the fire station, I wear a hoodie every day all the time because they keep it cold, right?
Absolutely.
Fire stations are freezing. I just lay out in the bay, I get called a lizard. Currently
I've seen you try and take an ice bath.
There's no video of that, by the way. But currently the eagle's nest. I've got my space heater up there.
Right.
I shut the door, turn the space heater on. People open the door and they're like, "Hey, God, it's hot in here." That being said, I used to work with a guy who always said, "My people are tropical people."
Yeah. I know who said that.
And I every time we go to the beach, it's not because we're on vacation. I'm like, I could live here, And I know you're on vacation, so it makes it easier.
Right.
And I love the mountains. I think I'd have to be somewhere warm, and I know that's not for everybody. I lived in North Carolina for this long of my existence, and you get the mountains, but there's also a beach. Mm-hmm. But for 6 months out of the year, it's a pretty cold beach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I say beach, I mean
you want a hot beach,
flip flops and sun. Yeah,
right.
I'm not. We a couple years back, we took our anniversary trip. We decided to go on a road trip, and we drove. Yeah,
I remember this.
Drove to DC,
mm-hmm.
and on our way down the coast, we actually went up first. It was the middle of December, and we went to the beach in Delaware. And it was like the warmest day on record there, in that time of the year, because it was
Sure.
like 55 degrees. And it was a beautiful beach. But as I understand, 2 months out of the year, it's like a beach, actually beach. So, I don't know. I would say, South Texas or Mexico.
All right.
Yeah. Long answer, sorry.
No, I like it.
It's got to be warm.
Got to be warm.
If I could make the middle of Colorado feel like South Texas, I'd go there.
There's got to be places where
I don't know.
There's warm mountainous beaches all year.
These mountains and this beach, and
probably some Mexico spots.
Yeah. So
good
that's
answer.
I'm sure there's a lot better answers. Somebody's going to be like, "There's this village in
Right.
Spain,
Right.
and it is the greatest place on earth. I want everybody to be there." And I don't.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
All right. Good answer. All right. Question 2.
Sorry. Go ahead.
If you could change careers today, and have the same level of success that you are now, that you were vested, take all the benefits that you have, the comforts that you have, and if you could put yourself in a different career, what career would that be? So obviously you could pick something like butterfly wrangling.
Yeah.
That probably isn't going to make that much money, but you could apply your current situation to it. So it kind of takes off the I didn't do that because of money.
Well, and the easy answer it would be like what I went to school for, what I wanted to do, which was to work on race cars. Mm-hmm. That was a thing. I traveled around and went to a ton of races back in the day. Actually got a degree in automotive mechanics. Actually, when I lived in North Carolina, went to NASCAR school. And I love that aspect of building cars, working on cars, not driving them. That's not my wheelhouse. But that being said, that was my dream as a kid or before I needed money and those kind of things. I spent enough money chasing that, and didn't happen. But man, like current situation and where I'm at, and thinking about it, man, I really think if I could coach, if I could coach and make
pay the
same
bills.
money, pay the bills, have a little retirement. I think that it It keeps me, mentally active, and it's challenging. I've only coached up to 6th and 7th graders right at the point. Right now, it's always been younger kids. But whether it's 2nd graders right now or whether it's been 7th graders, man, it's still challenging. It's a different kind of challenge.
What sport?
I think basketball. I told you I might be coaching some softball coming up,
right.
And I really enjoy it, and I get it. It's fine. But again, if I'm making this dream, right?
Right. Yeah.
Then I think it would be coaching basketball.
Gotcha.
I love it. And what I've learned over the last even just couple of years, we haven't had obviously any kids playing high school basketball, but I go to high school basketball games now, and I can't enjoy them as a parent or as a spectator. I'm watching them as a coach. And it is maddening because all you see is the negative.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I say, oh, that's a good shot. And people are like, that's the other team. You know what I mean? Like, I'm there to watch Spokane or whoever. And I'm like, man, that was a good play. And I'll kind of get looked at like, dude, that's Branson. Shut your mouth.
Right, right.
But
I'm that way.
And it's tough. And then when I see people do something stupid, I'm like, that is the dumbest mistake. I was like, what is that kid thinking? And I get the old elbow, like, his parents are sitting in front of us. That's happened more than once. I don't know his parents.
Talk to him.
But somebody needs to talk to him, If they don't know, how's he going to know? But so I really think, because it really, I think it's a really positive challenge. It's the challenge of you want to get better every day.
Mm-hmm.
And when you lose, you need to get better. And, even the most successful coaches at any level, at any sport, they weren't just like, we're good.
Right.
Every day they're like, we got to get better. And we've only won 4 Super Bowls. I want 10,
right.
Whatever it is. And so, but I think so. I think if I was able to have the comforts and the security,
yes,
which coaches don't have.
Right.
Yeah, that would be, I think so.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Retirement gig, you got the security.
When we have our daydreams talking about what we're going to do, obviously at 55, we can retire and I'll have 25 years on.
Right.
I think if I can, walk and, make it to work, if I'm able, I assume I might work a little bit longer. But talking to my wife, what I'm going to do, I was like, man, if I retire at 55, I really think I'll teach and coach. Like, with my master's degree that I have.
That's right.
I've got a ton
I'm sure they'll
of
see it that way.
College credit. It wouldn't take, over the next 10 years. I can easily have a teaching certificate, do something. But I really think that could be something that happens.
Nice. Very cool. I never would have pegged you as the teacher coach in retirement, but
we'll see.
I like it. I think in the south of Texas.
In the south of Texas. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably, that feels like enough time. We've talked for a while. We've gone over things. Cool. Well, thanks for coming, having a conversation. It's good stuff. I'm sure.
It's good times.
We didn't even talk about is how glorious our tips game, the basketball game of tips.
It's never been replicated.
Yeah.
It gets talked about from time to time.
Right.
If Joel Champ is ever at Station 1, I absolutely bring it up.
Yeah.
Because it's maddening to him.
Gosh. Talk about maybe one of the most dominant performances in the history of sports was
of all athletics.
Me and you in tips.
And there were some other pairings that performed well.
Yeah, there were some contenders
but
from time to time.
And there was times, like you said, you look at your hand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how I did that.
That was a miracle.
But
just being rescue guys, I guess.
And to turn and look at Champ and see him shake his head.
Yes.
Good times. And there's not a lot of basketball played there anymore.
That's
Forget
sad.
even tips, but just basketball in general. But
right.
Yeah. And like you said, if we just sat and thought about stories or times or something that we were laughing hysterically about, we'd come up with a lot more.
We would.
Because there's been times, probably some that maybe shouldn't be discussed on a podcast.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not recorded at all.
Right.
But
dark, quiet places.
But definitely some good times. I was pulling in here today, and I did think to myself, obviously post-construction, every time that I come in this driveway, it's coming to a party that the Weeks are hosting.
Oh, yeah.
Murder Mystery.
Something
of that sort. And, always a good time. We talk about them for a year in between.
Oh, yeah.
Every
it's like
time.
Christmas for me.
It's funny for us how many times we've had friends or family that are going to one or having something, and they'll call us, hey, what did you guys, and they'll ask us questions about what we wore or where we got it or how many people or whatever. And we're just like, yeah, it's going to be a good time. Won't be near as fun as one we go to.
Right,
I
it's not
promise
gonna
you.
live up.
You know, but there's always been some good stories
We
from
have
those.
so much fun. We've never solved a mystery.
Like even close, right?
Yeah, not even close. I feel like that's a good indication of how much fun we have.
I can even remember though, after most of them, after the first couple anyway, having that conversation of, man, next time I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
Not even close.
Not even
just.
But is it worth it? You know,
It's just a good time. I don't
always
know.
do the is it worth it to keep doing this? Because we don't even get should we just have a costume? But it so much anticipation goes into the character.
You've built an event. Like that's what it's come down to. It's not just a thing. I mean, it's an event.
Yeah.
Similar to somebody always has the best Halloween party, and that's the people that host it, and they're going to have it because that's their deal.
Right.
I mean, this party is looked forward to, and people are bummed when they miss it. People, I mean, it's a thing.
It is a thing.
So, when's the next one?
I can't say.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Have you ever seen the movie Accepted?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So
Justin Long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cult classic.
Oh my gosh.
For me, Dave Easter and I were talking about it, and I told him
Southampton Institute of Technology.
Exactly. I told him I'm gonna put a pallet up, and I'm gonna call the yard the Van Horn Gateway.
Yeah.
Excellence in,
Yes.
ignorance out. And that it's for the murder mystery party.
Yeah.
It's not about the number we accept. It's about the number we reject.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What a good movie. You don't see that one a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Okay.
Sorry, I digress. One more moment for the sponsors that make this all possible. All right. Thanks, Geoff. Thanks
to
for
the
coming on.
sponsors,
We'll do this again soon.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, I hope you found this conversation with Geoff inspiring. I feel like he laid on a lot of good dad wisdom and is doing some really cool things. Has some coaching is a big deal, and you get to influence not just your own children, but so many other kids. So what a great way to give back to the community in kind of a unique way. Also, I wanted to let everyone know that a week from today, I will be traveling to Ukraine for the 4th time. Eli and I are continuing to document the Kobolski family, and this is a really exciting time because we get to go back and spend time with Andre and his family, and that's something that I love dearly, but it's also a really hard time for myself and Eli and our families. As you can imagine, the situation in Ukraine is always volatile and moving and terrible, and that's what we are trying to show with our documentaries, is the reality of the situation, but to show that we have to be there. So please keep myself, Eli, and our families, as well as Andre's family, in your thoughts and prayers, especially this next week, a week from today, and then continue on for the next 7-8 days. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will let you get back to your day. Thanks again for listening to The Dreamer's Journey.